It's going to happen. And we live right now, my friends, in a strange land where we're being slowly indoctrinated and retaught the way the world moves. The spiritual and cultural environment that we live in is so radically different than what my parents grew up in, what their parents grew up in, and what their parents grew up in. It is so radically different. The questions that we asked never came to their minds. The country that seems to be a Christian country for so long is not really the Christian country we thought it was. Makes some of us feel pretty insecure. The questions that that were asked when many religious movements, denominations, and foundations were being built, that were being asked, are so different than the reality that we face now. We have issues that they never could have dreamed of. Globally, we have arsenals of nuclear weapons that are not really that secure, that is a reality that faces our life, especially when it's combined with a force and a movement of terrorism. My grandparents never thought about that. It wasn't a part of their reality. There's an awareness and a violation of human rights in ways that we never would have thought of or have been aware of before. And because of the fact that our world has grown smaller and smaller and smaller, we are now aware so much more of things like Rwanda and Darfur. This is a different world than 100 years ago. This is a different world than 50 years ago. Socially, we deal with questions and dynamics. We deal with a shifting ethnic makeup of America that never would have been thought of. And this causes oftentimes fear. And creates the prognosticators and the fearmongers to get even more excited about, wow, the world is coming to an end. America's changing. What are we going to do about it? How do we constrict and pull back into what used to be? How do we make ourselves secure? Because, oh no, immigration is on a rise and white people might not be the majority anymore. Oh no. Because we've done such a good job. Smell that? That was sarcasm, if you were wondering. Not sure if you caught that or not. Why does the color of my skin even matter? Amen. Why does the background of what country I came from even matter? I can't even figure out where I came from. Jaeger's German. Are you going to put the sins of my fathers on me? Are you going to blame me for World War II? Oh, apparently Mark is. Let's go over to this side of the house. It's a little more friendly. Morally, we face challenges that were unknown. Challenges to sexual mores and taboos and roles. Never had to think about that before. We live in a different world. We live in a world where the floor is shaking underneath us. And that's not even talking about the changes that have happened in your life in the last 18 months. That's not even talking about the earth-shattering transitions that have happened in my life and your life within the last 5 years. 5 years ago, where were you? Could you imagine being where you are right now 5 years ago? No. The world is shifting. And just like Daniel and his 3 friends, we live in a different land. And we've been taken into a different world and taught a different set of things. And we have a choice in how we deal with that. Verse 5. The king assigned them a daily ration of food and wine from his own kitchen. They were to be trained for 3 years, and then they were to enter the royal service. Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were 4 of the young men chosen, all from the tribe of Judah. The chief of staff renamed them with these Babylonian names. Daniel was called Belteshazzar. Hananiah was called Shadrach. Mishael was called Meshach. Azariah was called Abednego. Now, these 4 names, leave this up on the screen, these 4 names, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, these names all revolve around the concept of God. Israel's God, Yahweh. Daniel's name meant God is judge. Now, to understand that word, you got to understand a little bit of the Jewish mentality of the judicial system. Okay, we know our judicial system a little bit. You watch enough television that you've seen a courtroom. By the way, what happens in a courtroom is a lot different than most television shows, but that's beside the point. You have the judge, you got a couple, lawyers, defendant, all that. In the Jewish judicial system, the judge was also the defense attorney. Did you hear me? The judge was also the defense attorney. It was the judge's job to try to find any way to get the guy off that he could. That's kind of a little weird to us. We're used to judge impartial. Yeah, you're sitting there, go. The judge was on the side. So the judge, actually, a deeper meaning of judge would be deliverer or salvation. You went before the judge saying, plead my case. Defend me. Not walking in front of the judge being absolutely scared. So if you see in the Bible where it talks about God being your judge, I want you to reframe that a little bit in your mind.